Runs kindly for Morrison. It's Cal Morrison! Just listen to this, please! Spencer takes over. It's Brad Spencer! It's in the back of the net! There's Donaldson driving forward. Cole Donaldson! That is simply ridiculous! There's Tom Lang! Oh my word! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
Ross, I've got a Christmas cracker joke for you.
Go on then.
What have Falkirk and a randy dog owner got in common?
I don't know what do Falkirk and a randy dog owner have in common.
They can't hold on to a lead. Hello, welcome to Falkirk Daft. I am John McAnally. That is Ross Wayne. Just a wee bit of joke. But I tell you what, right, listen. If you told me at the start of the season that we would be sitting here just about to hit the new year, that would be top of the league by 6 points and would have taken 4 points from East End Park at this point, I would have bitten your hand off. Unbelievable stuff. It turned out to be a really good weekend. Obviously, we were all a bit disappointed on Friday. We will talk about the game in a bit. But yeah, it's been a good weekend actually, Ross, when you look back at the results obviously went for us.
It has so far, buddy. It has been a really good weekend. And I just think, as you said, like had someone offered you this in July, you would have been, okay, I'll take this. Absolutely, of course you would do, and I think it shows how far we've come. That we have had some disappointments so far this season, but look where we are. It's top of the tree for Christmas. We're top of the tree for New Year, and let's see where it takes us. We're now over the halfway mark.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about the game, but first I want to address an issue, okay? And it's the crowd problems that happened on Friday night. Obviously, you don't want to see it. A lot of seats ripped up, thrown on the pitch, pyro thrown on the pitch as well. A lot of complaints, obviously, from, I'm sure it's all been dealt with at the moment. And apparently we're getting the blame for it, Ross. So I don't know if you've seen the post on Come On Ye Bairns by Brian Patterson. God bless you, Brian. I don't think he's ever listened to this podcast, I'll be honest with you. But he fired a comment on which kind of got brought down. Apparently we're to blame, Ross, for the trouble on Friday night. So Brian starts off a post saying, got to comment this morning, not something I would usually do. However, as someone who lives in Fife now and travels to Westfield as a season ticket holder, in fact 2 season tickets as I pay for one for my wife, well done you, Brian, 120 mile round trip. I born and lived in Falkirk for 40 plus years. I am now so tired at the abuse given to Fifers. Some of this can also be laid at the so-called Falkirk Supporter Podcast. I'm assuming that's us, Ross. Well done, lads. You contribute to the intense dislike of people the other side of the water. This results in some individuals believing we all have 2 heads and should be fought at every opportunity. This has resulted in social hatred. Guys, you need to lay off. Some of the young fans are influenced to the extent we see last night. There's not a lot of good punctuation going on there. I don't think Brian's ever listened to this podcast, I'll be honest with you.
No, it doesn't sound like it. And John, if I may then, I think it's important that we release some sort of official statement here and now. Would you agree?
Right, okay.
Okay, so I think it's important that we say, listen, we at Falkirk Daft Podcast, we would like to confirm that if we have ever talked about smashing the Fifers, this was obviously meant in terms of on the pitch. It did not mean we promoted violence, hatred towards Fifers in general, plastic seats, or indeed the Dunfermline players on the night. We assumed, John, that our joking comments were taken as jokes, with them being jokes. We hope this clarifies our position and our stance on all things Fife related.
So well, that's done. Let's talk about getting in about the Fife. Sorry, I dropped a C-bomb. I apologise. Comedy effect. Sorry, Brian. Sorry about. No, listen. Honestly, I think it's important to say that we don't obviously condone what happened on Friday night.
No, of course we don't. No,
we talked about it after the match. Listen, we have the ultras. We reached out actually to the ultras as well to ask them, what, because I think we've talked about how good the police.
Yep, they do.
They obviously have a relationship with the club as well, which is really important as well. I think the guys at the top we'll be looking at that on Friday, just going, listen, boys, we need to calm this down. Because at the end of the day, there's a couple of things, right? So ripping up the seats, that's going to cost the club, right? Ultimately, it costs our football club. If you're ripping up seats, throwing on the pitch, right? Secondly, doing pyros, it's dangerous, lads. Do you know what I mean? Throwing like pyros onto the pitch, it cuts up the pitch. Again, probably cost coming back on the club, because if there's the pitch is damaged, we've seen it. If it happens at our place, the cost of on the Astro, I'm sure there'll be a cost affected there. Plus, do you know what? It's dangerous. You didn't want to see people getting hurt. A professional footballer getting hurt because of a pyro. You know what I mean? Because they were banging off and whatever, right? So that's the second point. So it's going to cost the club. The next point is, it's just something for fucking Dunfermline to hold over us. You've seen it, and it's just something that they can come back at us all the time, and ultimately they'll come to our place and probably do the exact same thing.
Well, the issue is, they have done, right? And this damage of the seats in the stadium goes back and forth, and it doesn't help anyone. So it just needs nipped in the bud in terms of tit for tat, right? You know me, I've been a long admirer of the smoke bombs being when they get used, or the pyrotechnics when they're safely used as well, right? They weren't safely used at all on Friday night. They were chucked on the park, which is absolutely shocking. It obviously led to a bit of a delay in the game end in the first half. It didn't. It's not a reason why we drew the game, because obviously they scored very quickly into the injury time anyway.
But see, the point on that, Ross, though, as well, is like, see when you hear, like, because obviously all that added time to the end of the match, all the delays and everything added time to the end of the match. See when you hear 7 minutes added time, suddenly the goal came in that after that announcement was made.
It did. It was very quickly after.
Do you know what I mean? But it's that way when you hear, like, Kel Benedictus hadn't come up for one corner, and then suddenly 7 minutes added time. It's like, right, I've got to go up, and it's maybe, like, is this butts and babies? Is this?
He shouldn't have been on the park anyway, should he?
And well, we'll talk about that in a bit. But it's all ifs, buts and maybes. But it adds to time, and who's to say? I mean, if Dunfermline went on and scored in extra time, Jesus Christ! I mean, we could have went on and scored ourselves, right enough. But it's all these things just add up and add up and add up. And like we say, we're massive fans of the Ultras on here. Like, love the guys. We've raved about how big a part they played on success on the park. But it's overstepping the line, and I'm pretty sure the guys at the Ultras understand that. I'm pretty sure the club will be communicating to the Ultras, listen, boys, he's going to need to rein this in a wee bit, because this is, when it's endangering people, when it's costing the club, that's when you start going, right, you need to look at that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, as we say, like, I don't think it's our fault, the violence. I just want to say at this point, I don't think the 150 years of troubles between Falkirk and Dunfermline can be laid on the door of this podcast. I think Brian actually doubled down as well. He says, he went on Facebook, I think, come on, you Bairn, says, hate crimes are not just about a colour or religion. Right, I understand. As a Bairn for over 65 years, now living in Fife, it would seem I have 2 heads and sleep with my sister. This is getting beyond banter.
He does what, sorry?
What?
He does what, sorry?
He sleeps with his sister and has 2 heads. That's apparently. This is getting beyond banter. Time to cool it, Falkirk Daft, as well as some other contributors on here. Well said. It's time that Swinney looks at this. The more I look at it, the more I think it's a wind-up.
Well, listen, I really hope it is a wind-up, because it's a wild take that,
that
we're responsible, right? I can't believe he's used the phrase hate crime when talking about this in terms of our talking about a game and that as well. We
had a Dunfermline supporter on last week, and my friend Stephen Mill, who was given as good as he got, you know what I mean?
I'm going to say something controversial, right?
Right, go on.
You ready for it?
Go.
Okay. We all have a bit of banter about Fifers and stuff, right? They have a bit of banter about us. Right, that's part and parcel of football rivalry, John. You hear it, your daily job as well, when there's the phone in about Rangers, Celtic, Motherwell, Airdrie, Hibs, Hearts, whoever it is, there's a football rivalry and there's banter back and forth, right? The biggest worry here is this is someone, a Falkirk fan of over 60 years, did he say? 40 years? Yeah. He's chosen to go and live in Fife. I have no issues with genuine Fifers. Why has he moved to Fife? That is the biggest question here. That's the question we've answered on this podcast.
I have to say, there's some lovely parts of Fife, by the way. Some lovely parts.
Like the way out and stuff. It's brilliant.
So, listen, at the end of the day, I've got respect. Dunfermline, at the end of the day, Dunfermline supporters have respect for Falkirk. Falkirk supporters have respect for Dunfermline because we're both similar sized clubs, right? Trying to get that. And the rivalry's just generated as a result of that. And I think when you look, I've got more respect for Dunfermline than I've got for Rangers and Celtic.
Listen,
Because our rivalry is based on
Aye.
what is just based on a pure hatred for one another. It's not based on religion. It's not based on politics. It's based on just a pure hatred. But I think there is a mutual respect for each other.
No, I think so as well. I would agree with that. And I think the nearly 9,000 at the game on Friday night on TV, remember as well. I think that's a huge
Incredible.
thing. Obviously, we are in a far better place currently on the pitch than they are. However, for them to come out in the numbers as well, in the position that they're in, then it does show that they are a big football club the same as us. There's probably not a lot between it. Probably not a lot.
No, exactly. Anyway, that's dealt with now. Let's get on to Christmas. I can't believe it. It's we're in that kind of part of Christmas in between. You don't know what day it is. I have no idea what day it is today. I'm going out for a few pints. I'm going up to Behind the Wall this afternoon though, Ross. We're going to try the Falkirk Daft Venom. Enjoy that.
Excellent.
But Christmas chat. Any Christmas Falkirk gifts? I didn't get any.
No, I didn't.
That's disappointing, is it? You think the women in our life, right? You know, or the people in our lives that buy us gifts. I was thinking, it's dead easy. See, to buy, I always say, just go through the Falkirk shop. You'll find something for me there. But no Falkirk. But I did get a membership to the Scott. My wife does know me quite well because I got a membership for the Scottish Malt Whisky Society, Ross. So it's a members only bar. So I'll be drinking quaffing whisky with the Tories in there at some point.
The Tories.
But yeah, you didn't get any Falkirk gifts anyway either.
No, I didn't. However, we did ask the question on social media on, I don't know if it was Christmas Day or Boxing Day, but we did ask the question, and we got some brilliant pictures sent in, which we've shared on our X account, John. But yeah, Dave had sent a picture of a Crawford Batty t-shirt, and it's like, I've seen it before, but I've
seen it. I don't know where to get it. I love that t-shirt. I need to find out where to get it.
It does. It looks fantastic. So you've got big Crawford Batty on there. Paul McTavish, who was our guest pundit, he got an Invincibles program framed by Fanatico, which just looks absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Big Grant Thompson, who we'll talk about again in a wee second. He got I assume, I don't know if it was a gift to himself or whether it was someone got it, but it was a 1973-74 Falkirk shirt framed. And it looks stunning.
Amazing.
Absolutely stunning. Ali got in touch. She got signed, custom-made Callum Morrison boxers. Did you see the picture of that?
I did see that. They were brilliant.
Yeah. Penny sent us a picture of his champions. It's like a Falkirk shirt made into an LED light from last season. He's got that in his man cave. Ashley Maitland, who sorts us out with loads of photos, she bought a Falkirk Daft hoodie. In a really nice sort of pinky colour, so it looks good. Well done, Ashley. Someone called K Monk got in touch because he's got a T-shirt that's got MILF written on the front, which is "Man, I love Falkirk," which is brilliant. And then there were a few people who had got the third shirt, the heritage shirt, as a gift.
Well, see, no one bought you that one, Ross.
No, I've got enough toilet paper in there. Yeah.
You're still. By the way, talking about shirts, I mean, let's talk about the fact that the Falkirk Sports Society have got the vote on for the shirt at the moment. So at the home you've got the 88-89 Spall with the white shoulders, the 1991 Navy champions one, 9607 is the checked one, and then they've got the 0203 Budvar kind of one for the home tops. What are you having out of that, Ross?
I voted for the 90-91 Navy champion. That's my, up to this last period, that was always my sort of go-to favourite.
Stainrod, I mean, that's obviously synonymous with
Stainrod. Beezer Holmes on the front as well. So I went
for the coasters, the Spall with white shoulders.
Shirt. Yeah, listen, to be fair, almost all of these would be a brilliant repro for different reasons. Can I give you a controversial take on one?
I know what you're going to say here.
You know, see the Budvar one?
Aye, I know what you're going to say here.
See if you take out the Budvar sponsorship, it's a shite looking shirt.
Aye.
It is boring. It's a boring shirt.
But I guess it's synonymous with that. You know, 4-0 against Hearts and what have you. You know, it's
totally agree. Yeah, totally agree.
But no, so I went for this. But we'll wait and see what happens. I don't know when it will be announced. The away tops, it's the 88-89 Spal with the navy shoulders. The 1991 white champions one. The 95-96 with which is I've got the original of that, by the way. Yeah. Love it. The white is kind of with this paint splashes, and the 05-06 is the red kind of central demolition one from the first season back in the Premiership. What are you going for there?
Again, I stuck with the same season.
I went with white champions one,
1991. That for me was just a classic set of strips. I know it's not the most sexist, like it's quite a basic Falkirk strip, but the one that was second on my list though was the paint splashes one, which is a hit and a miss with some people, because like I love it, you love it, but then there was a few people saying, oh, it's a bit.
Like a cycling top, I saw a couple of comments.
Yeah, I saw somebody saying it was a bit Team GB type-esque.
Yeah, no, I love that. First third top we've ever had as well, by the way. That was the...
It was, that's right. See the red central demolition one? I think that's an odd choice. Like it's not bad, but like I don't associate it.
I know you're not a fan of red strips as well, so...
No, I'm not, but I think...
This season's
the one after. See the one after, the yellow?
Aye.
More iconic than the red one.
I've got that framed. I remember when I got diddled at the Andy Laurie testimonial dinner. I got diddled by Frank McAvenny. I've got that still from that season up in a frame. In fact, I actually also got Kenny Milne's version of it that season when we played them at East End as well, and he launched it in the crowd. I've got Kenny. Yeah. So I've got Kenny Milne's old top line about there as well. It's amazing.
See, when you go back a minute, you said diddled by Frank McAvenny. Is that a euphemism, is it?
We'll move on from that. Let's get into Birthday Corner now. Do you want to do the birthdays this week, Ross?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Shout out firstly, actually. So Kelly Morrison had got in touch via Facebook to say, love you guys. Unlike Brian, so she loves us. Love you guys. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year when it comes. Here's to 2025, and I'm on the Wayne train to the Premiership.
Brilliant. Belated happy birthday to Rhys Miller, whose birthday was on Friday.
Indeed. And happy birthday to AKA Charlie from Stillgame, Grant Thompson, and star of Falkirk Daft.
Amazing.
Those that were there. Whose birthday is on the 5th of January. And as we always say, Grant, keep them coming.
Keep the birthdays coming. Brilliant. Good to see Grant celebrating his birthday there as well. Fantastic. Right, let's get into the F Factor. And I have to apologise to Adam Hunter. I butchered his song last week. So Adam, remember how we said after we got the voice notes last week, we wanted some voice notes. So I tried to sing as Bella Ciao to a Keelan Adams song. Adam, I made an absolute arse of it. But Adam thankfully has been in touch and has hit us up with a voice note. This is how it should sound.
I'm just down work listening to the podcast and John's absolutely butchered that. It goes, Keelan Adams, he plays for Falkirk, he hates the pars, he plays in Navy, he hates the Airdrie, and he makes the Falkirk sing. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da.
I like that.
There you go. He went a bit high there. He kind of just about lost it there, Adam, as well. But that's a lot better than
that's a far better version. And see, just before we listen to the next couple, John, the one we did last week was obviously for Simon Brown, which was the one where he was absolutely gutted. The fact that he got in that was fantastic. And honestly, the amount of people that says, "Oh, I was crying laughing listening to him." So well done, Simon, again. I
loved that. Absolutely. Right, Tyler has been in touch. He's got 2 entries for us. He says someone needs to take my phone away after XOXO. He sent us this on Christmas morning at 1 a.m. and Friday morning at 4 a.m. I have not heard these yet. I'm very much looking forward to it. So this is Tyler after a night in XOXO. He's hitting us with this one to start with.
Hello lads, right. This is my very sober entry for F Factor of this week. This week's Falkirk Daft after the Pars game. Hopefully we get a win. It's Christmas Eve and here we go to the tune of Enola Gay. Oh, my Glenn said he fucking loves Cole Donaldson. Oh, words can't describe. Callum running down the right hand side. Do. Nizzy's hair is fine. He scores belters all the time. That's why we sing this song for the Falkirk all night long.
It sounds like he's went under the underpass at that point.
Merry Christmas and fuck the bars.
Amazing, Tyler. So that was his Christmas Eve song. Let's hear what happened on Friday morning at 4 a.m, shall we? Let's go with this.
Hello lads, right, this is my second audition for Factor. I am even more sober than the last time. And here we go, fuck the pars. Ethan Ross, running down the wing, makes the Falkirk sing, we're going to the Premier League, or Premiership, or gonna win the fucking league. Ethan Ross, fuck the pars. And come on, let's get into them tomorrow. Come on.
Amazing. Absolutely
Class.
amazing. I think, and I don't know if Tyler's got a ticket, I think Tyler goes through to the live show. I'm going to put. I like the Voulez-Vous one. I mean, maybe we should talk about this off air. But for me, at the moment, Tyler should be going through to the live show.
If anything, just for the hiccup alone.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff, Tyler. And we've got one more entry from Delbairn as well. Let me just find that one. Right, so we've got another one for you. This is a bit quicker. Here we go. This is from Delbairn.
Barney is a Falkirk Bairn who causes teams frustration. He's fucking tall, he's what you call a goal scoring sensation.
Nah, 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 nah. Short, sweet, I like it.
I like it as well.
Brilliant. Now, keep them coming, please, as Big Charlie would say. Get your DMs, get your voice notes, especially if you're pissed, right? If you've been up the tune, you've had a couple of Falkirk Daft Venoms, get them into us. Love that. It's my favourite bit of the show now. And like I say, we're going to put 3 forward for the live show. I'm hoping to do this at Falkirk Daft Live. So if you haven't got a ticket for Falkirk Daft Live, this could be your way into the event. All you need to do is do a Falkirk song. Write a Falkirk song. We'll get you on stage on the night. And I really envisage an X Factor style scenario with John McGlynn as Simon Cowell.
It's why we do it.
It's why we do it. I mean, it's why we do it. So, listen, keep them coming in our DMs. You can do that on Twitter or Facebook and just do a voice note, pop them on. Or if you know me and Ross personally, just do it and WhatsApp it us and we'll play it on next week's show. Absolutely loving that. And it's a Christmas time, so everyone's out drinking. So make up a Falkirk song and we'll get you on the show next week. Before we move on, let's say thank you very much to our sponsor, Falkirk Football Fans in Training. The Lava Cup is coming next year. The teams are supporting each other through football, making memories. Obviously, you arrive as opponents, you leave as mates. They're a great bunch of lads. We still talk about that so many times. Training at the stadium on a Monday. I'm guessing it's off just now for Christmas, but Monday 8 till 9, Tuesday 7:30 to 8:30, and we've got obviously the Super Vets football, which have joined up with the Falkirk Foundation Walking Football Squad for. So if you're not quite ready for the full FFIT Tuesday games, get involved with that. Over 50s only, 8 aside, nice and easy, but again, you just have great banter. If you love your football and you just want, like, if you're sitting out there and you're kind of over 50 and you just want to pick up, kick a ball again, get involved, man. Great. So get down if you want to join Super Vets football. That's Friday at the stadium between 5 and 6. All the details are below. Get in touch with Ian, Willie or Dougie. They'll sort you out. They'll get you down. You'll become mates with them. You'll end up in hospitality. You'll have a whale of a time. They're great guys, and absolutely, get involved with the FFIT guys because they're fantastic. And they'll have a couple, like you say, coming in the new year, so that'll be great. Right, let's get in some club news now then, shall we, before we talk about the game. Biggest news of the week. And I don't want to say it. Luke Graham's going back to Dundee. We kind of got the hints on it on Friday, Ross, because when we saw him handing his jersey over at the end and kind of waving to the crowd and applauding the crowd. But how gutted are you?
Yeah, no, very gutted. As we said on whenever the news broke officially, you never really want to fall in love with a lone player, and we'd have with Big Luke because he's been fantastic in the time that he's been with us. He looks like he's absolutely loved it as well. And it is a shame he's having to move on. Obviously, Dundee have got a really tough situation just now between injuries to existing centre-halves. They're not doing that well defensively anyway. So it makes sense, I suppose, from their side. It's just a shame that he's had to go back because He is loving it, and I can only imagine he would absolutely love the chance to potentially win a league with any club, and it is a sore one.
Yeah, I know it is a sore one. I don't think I think there was talk about him maybe going back for Dundee to have a look at him in January, and then potentially coming back to us before the window closes. But with Dundee's defensive injury situation at the moment, I don't think that's looking likely now. And I think when they get a look at him, they'll go, Jesus Christ, this guy is. I mean, I think we've seen how good he is. I mean, the size of him, the strength of him. He's a big ball playing centre half. I mean, for me, he's a potential Scotland international. I've said that before. I think he's incredible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. He, as you've said, the chat is that they wanted to have a look at him anyway. They've had another centre half, another defender injured just yesterday or whatever day they played. So they've now got a severe issue there, and it's likely he's probably going to remain there. Unfortunately, it doesn't. None of the announcements make it sound like he's coming back, even potentially coming back. So you never know. Never say never. But
I guess it means I don't know how far Tom's away, but Cole. Well, obviously, we've got Cole there on the bench. I don't know if Cole's 100% match fit now. I know a lot of people said at the Air game he came on, didn't look fit, but I mean, he's surely, hopefully, up to speed. I mean, the club captain coming back in at centre half's never a bad thing.
He was a fantastic. He was one of our best players before he got injured. So. It's not a bad thing getting him back. Do I think we will look at a centre half? I think John McGlynn already will be.
I think you'll have to have Tom's
May have somebody lined up, John.
True. I mean, if Tom's not going to be up and about, we'll wait and see. I'm still waiting to just see the first glance of Tom on the bench, and hopefully that happens. But he's going to have to look at that because Hendo obviously is in there. I think the big thing was that Hendo and Great Luke had struck up such a good partnership. I don't know how many times Hendo and Cole have played together at centre half.
I'm not sure, but
you think of last season, because Hendo was generally in midfield, and it was Tom and Cole. So they'll have to get a relationship, I guess, and generate that relationship. But I think the thing is that Liam and Luke had that already. Hopefully, Airdrie's a good chance to start that, because you would hope, with where we're at with Airdrie and where they're at, it should be an easier game. But they'll have to strike up that relationship, because it's going to be a hard gap to fill.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And the squad in general get on so well personally. Yeah. And I'm sure in training, they probably work on quite a lot, mixing it up during training and stuff as well. And let's not forget, they'll be spending all of this week planning for Airdrie and how that's going to go. So, so whether it's Cole coming in or somebody moves into centre half and we backfill a full back position, who knows? John McGlynn may even have an additional player in mind already, and because obviously we're taking it that John McGlynn and the club have known that Luke is definitely going back for probably at least a month since the East Kilbride game. So from that perspective, he may even have another player coming in. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Talking about Airdrie, tickets are on sale now, and it's a 7:30 kickoff. Remember that, Bairns, and it's obviously on the telly this Friday. But tickets, I think they're on allocated seats as well, Ross, aren't they?
Seems to be general admission. Yeah.
So hopefully another big crowd for that on Friday. I think I'm going to be watching that one on the telly on Friday, sitting, because I've got a few nights out in between. So I think time to bank up the chips and. So I'll be watching that one on the telly on Friday, but you'll be heading along to it, no doubt.
I'll be there Friday night, looking forward to it.
Yeah, brilliant. And talking about that being on the telly, the Livingston game has been moved to the telly as well. So that was meant to be played on Saturday, the 1st of February. It's now been moved to Friday, the 31st of January. Box office Bairns yet again, Ross.
Yeah, it's phenomenal how many times we're being picked. Obviously, the BBC have just announced an increase to the live number of games as well, so I don't know if that'll affect us even more as we progress towards the end of the season. But you never know. It is good in a way. Like it's great exposure for the club. I do think it probably takes, in general, a bit off the crowd for some games. Probably not likely with Friday there, but in terms of that game, it might take a couple or a few off the gate that would normally go. Yeah. But it is brilliant exposure for the club as well.
Yeah, and my reliable sources say that there could be another movement in February to the Morton game. So keep your eyes out for that. Potentially moving the Morton game away, which I think was maybe played on the 22nd of February. That might be moving to the Friday night as well. So hopefully that will be announced at some point as well. So box office Bairns continue. Before we get into the match though, we've got to say thanks to Behind the Wall. We were in there on Friday before the match. Hospitality and the beer, great as ever. I got a lift from Behind the Wall, so I was sat in there before all the buses got back as well. So I was sitting having a chin wagging to a lot of Falkirk Daft listeners, a lot of Falkirk supporters in there as well. Great place for a pint. It always is. I love it. And the Falkirk Daft Venom is of course on sale there. We've made it onto the menu. I was expecting someone had a Falkirk Daft Venom. I don't know. It went kind of brownie. One of them had went kind of brownie colour.
It's weird. It depends on where you're standing though. Like, cause the one, so a shout out. I got one bought for me when I was at the bar on Friday night before the game, and it was.
Where was that at that point? I missed that.
You were up the stairs. This is where I went down. But we were having a chat about it. See at the light of where the bar is, you can see how crystal blue it is. But then like if it's a bit darker, it looks a little bit kind of purpley.
Right. Oh, right, interesting. So it depends on the light. There you go. But anyway, get involved. Try it. It's on the menu now. And of course, Behind the Wall, it's £5 for a home game. You get a return transfer and you get a beer at the end of it. So it's effectively a free bus. And of course, away games are £10 as well, which is great. Again, the same deal applies. Apart from Airdrie, it was $12.50. Get your name to into Scotty at the bar or give them a call. Email them, they'll take everything and they'll get your name down for the bus. It's a great bus to go on. Ross, you were on it on Friday there.
Yep. 4 buses left.
Mental.
Which was fantastic. As you say, tenner return, and we got a pint on our return back to the pub after the game.
I got someone's ticket as well, which was great because they weren't using it. So we got a couple of free drinks because some boys didn't come back up to the pub. Brilliant. Yes, and there's still some seats remaining for Airdrie away, so get in touch with Brian, Scotty, everyone at Behind the Wall, get your name down for that. And of course, it's open for food and drinks on Hogmanay. If you've got, I've got no plans for Hogmanay at all yet. Ross, have you got anything?
No, I'm not a massive Hogmanay or New Year's fan, if I'm being honest.
You're not going to be in your bed before the bells, are you?
No, but I'm not one for going out and about. I can't be. I'm not for that.
Jules Hoot and Annie, mate, that's where it's at. But if you're not watching Jules Hoot and Annie, get down to Behind the Wall, enjoy a night. Stevie Beattie is on the decks here, bringing in the new year. It should be a cracking night. So get involved in Behind the Wall. Right, let's move on now to our guest pundit and another sponsor. Our friend Ryan Marshall. It's his first time with Falkirk Daft. We're going to get him on in a minute. He is the owner of Rmar Architecture, and he is joining us on Falkirk Daft right now.
Morning, gentlemen. How are we?
You good? How are you?
Good. Just about got over the Christmas hangovers. Wouldn't say I've lost the Christmas weight as of yet, but a good few weeks still to go.
Oh, mate, you're okay yet. It's not the new year yet. Just keep piling on the drink, keep piling on the food. Mentioned there, Ryan, you're the owner of our sponsor, Rmar Architecture. Tell us a bit about your firm, Ryan.
Yeah, well, I mean, a few people probably know I was working with a practice locally for 17 years. Left nearly 5 years ago now and set up myself as part of Rmar, or Rmar as we call it, Rmar, and pretty much do projects across most of Scotland. So it's been good. It's been good the last few years.
Yeah, you've done. We talked obviously the last couple of weeks about all the kind of jobs. We've talked about so much. I didn't realise, Ryan, that you did the houses up at the old Polish Club. They're amazing looking. Yeah,
that was a good few years ago with GRS Homes, another local business. And we also did the houses across from the hospital, the old Falkirk Infirmary as well. So,
right.
Wow.
The old convent. So, yeah, so again, that was part of the previous practice, but that was projects that I was working on there. And it's just really kind of grown arms and legs in the last few years. So we've got a lot of good clients. You probably know Mr. Henderson from Crunchy Carrots. That was a great project to work on with Scott. He really kind of bought into most of the ideas, shall we say, that we had. Maybe not all of them, but certainly most of them. I think it's came out great. I think most people that see that really enjoy being in the office and seeing the space.
I mean, that's amazing. Obviously, I just know it as Lecky's. Just walking into Lecky's back in the day. That must have been an interesting project to walk in. Such an iconic shop in Falkirk was Lecky's, and then you've gone in there and you're doing your thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, historically, I'd been involved a couple of times with a couple of different people previously, just looking at it. And then when Scott took it over, it was really, a kind of clean page to see what we could bring to the table and see what types of spaces we could create with that. Stripping it back, you probably remember yourselves, it was, jam-packed, full to the gunnels of stuff up to the ceiling. So trying to get it, in your head as to what it could be.
Yeah.
Past all the junk and everything else that was there before. I think most people that see it now would probably fail to recognise what it used to be. So long may it continue, and long may Scott and the team enjoy that space.
It looks brilliant, Ryan. It looks absolutely brilliant. And you're into everything, bespoke projects, extensions, housing developments, commercial property, hotels and industrial kinds. So if anyone is looking to, I guess from a Falkirk Daft perspective, it'll be more extensions and things like that. It's probably our listeners are into it. So if you're looking to get an extension in your house, Ryan's the man to speak to. And how do we do that, Ryan?
You can get through the website, which has got a contact page. We can fill in all the details there, or just email us or email myself at ryan@rmar.co.uk.
Yep, all the details are in the links below, as the YouTubers say. But let's talk about football now, Ryan. We've known each, we're all pals. Ross and you went to high school with each other.
Indeed.
Don't tell any stories that you shouldn't.
That was going to be a question. That was going to be give us a really embarrassing story about Ross in high school.
No, I think what I'd be doing with that one is I'd be shooting myself in the foot. I think.
All right, fair enough. I can see that one, but yeah, fair enough. What was your first Falkirk memory then? What's your first match, Ryan?
Well, funny enough, my first football match was actually a Scotland-Brazil game in 1986. So that was the first football game I ever went to, and I was about 5. And then my dad decided that actually I quite liked it. So the first game, I can't remember who they played, but I remember getting squeezed through the old turnstiles and getting in for nothing, as you used to be able to do when you went with your parents at the time. You got squeezed in. The first game I remember though was an Aberdeen game, probably about 91, 92. I think it was a Coca-Cola Cup game.
Yeah.
Duncan Shearer had scored the goal. The reason I remember this game is we're standing at the Hope Street end, but it was for some reason it was at a time when they decided to split off the Hope Street end. So the away fans were also at the other end. And I just remember the Aberdeen fans at the kind of metal cage and stuff and spitting through the fence. So as a wee guy, it felt quite intimidating. But it was that was the first kind of game I remember being that properly on a kind of wet, windy night at Hope Street.
I think I remember that game. Did we not? We lost.
I think it was 2-0. I think Duncan Shearer had a long sign for Aberdeen, and he scored one of them because I remember him kind of celebrating at the back of the net with the Aberdeen fans or something like that. Yeah, but aye. So, good times.
Yeah, and we've been asked this question all season. Most disappointing player to play for Falkirk?
There's a few. I mean, if you go back to the kind of earlier eras, when we got a couple of players in a bag of beans from Hearts for a player swap, Brian Hamilton and Neil Berry were a bit
Brian Hamilton, wow.
I've not thought of Neil Berry in a long time now.
I don't think anybody would. But no, I mean, to be fair, obviously they were decent at Hearts, but they came to Falkirk and were obviously very disappointing. But I tell you, the guy more recently that did disappoint the second time he came was Rory Loy. I know he had his injuries and stuff like that, but when he was there and then he came back, I thought, a great player the first time, but just a bit of a shadow of the player he was when he came back.
That's a really good shout, actually. A returning, because there was so much expectation because he'd done so well when he left and then came back and he was disappointed. A bit like Blair. Remember Blair Austin?
Yeah. I mean, different types of player. And I think the fact that Rory Loy was one of the players that kind of excited the fans. He had that great expectation to him to be the one that came back and got the bums off the seat, so to speak. But he just never really kicked on. And I think obviously was it the 2015 Cup final, he was also out injured for a big chunk of it and tried to come back
That was
that was the kind of end of him. So, but again, over the many years, there's been loads of folk that was really disappointing. Michael Tidser was another one that came with a big reputation. But for me, Rory Loy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, that's a great question as well. It's like I'm trying to think of players that have come back as a fault, but Crunchy's obviously the exception to the rule. And I think, but I'm just trying to think of other players that have maybe come back.
Pedro Matinho, he came back about 4
Pedro as well. It's exactly. That's a great shout, Ryan. Right, let's talk about Dunfermline then, shall we? Big crowd. It was a great atmosphere. We were all on buses heading through the game. 3,000 sold out in the away end. Brilliant atmosphere going in. We were in, I think, about 45 minutes before the game. Even then, it was just the queues to get in. It was incredible.
It was. The expectation ahead of the night, because of their position, the fans were up for it. The players, you could tell the players were going to be up for it as well. How could you not be with that sort of crowd there? And as you said, John, the atmosphere, like building up to the game, was just outstanding. Ryan, I don't know about you. Were you guys in early as well, or were you a bit tighter towards kickoff?
We parked up around about 7:05. So by the time we walked and got to the ground, kind of 10 past, quarter past, but it was a long wait. It was a long wait. Couple of guys getting arrested for relieving themselves, shall we say, at the car sales area was part of the highlight of the stand in the queue. But when you've got your 15 or 16-year-old niece trying to avert her attention away from that person, again, I don't know. It was a great night in terms of the atmosphere and the build-up. And we'll get into the game in a minute, but certainly it felt more like kind of old school night games where there was a bit of an atmosphere outside as well as inside.
Yeah,
a bit of expectation and anticipation of what could or couldn't happen. So
I think there was a lot of anticipation going into the game. Obviously, when we spoke last week, Ross, James McPake was still in charge, and then we had he got the bin on the Monday after we spoke to Stephen. But yeah, I think there was anticipation, and for me, it was. I had in the back of my head, right, going into the game, right, it was going to go one way or the other. We were absolutely going to thump them after seeing your man John McLaughlin, who's the under-18s coach, taking over and watching his interview and going, "This man looks like a rabbit caught in a headlights here. Cancel his holiday to Lanzarote to take charge of the team." And I thought it was going to go the way of they'll get that manager bounce and the win, or we'll absolutely pump them. It didn't go either way, but they certainly seemed to have a manager bounce as well.
They did. A little bit of a bounce. Was the crowds obviously helped them too? It was a huge crowd in the night, nearly 9,000. So, like, if you're a Dunfermline player, regardless of how your season's been so far, it's a one-off game, which we talked about as well. Derby games, anything can happen. Yeah. And I know, we were bamming Stephen up last week, I was bamming up saying it'd be 5-0 and stuff. These games are never as easy as that, and it could have been. I think had we been, and we'll talk about the chances, had we been far more clinical and tighter at the back, then it could have been a high-scoring night for us. But it wasn't, and but we I think every fan was really comfortable with the changes that had been made prior to kickoff.
A lot to unpack on that. I mean, certainly the talk going into the game is obviously after the performance of Callum Morrison, would he come back in? Dylan Tate came on against Hamilton, looked very composed and made a difference against Hamilton. And then, there was 3 changes made. And I guess the thought is that we brought Sean Mackey back in just for the physicality aspect of it, and it's a different game. We'll talk about Sean Mackey's performance in a bit. But 3 changes made, Ryan. Very un-McGlynn-like, I thought.
I think he shuffled the pack a wee bit. For me, I think it was the right call on paper early doors. I mean, I think you see Callum Morrison come back in form. Alfie was a wee bit off the boil last week, as a few of the boys were. Dylan Tate coming back in to the middle with Brad, I think gives us just a wee bit more control and pushing Izzy a wee bit further forward, just a wee bit more energy there. The one to kind of drop out and always a bit of a question mark over was Calvin Miller, but I actually thought up until being dropped by John, Calvin was looking a wee bit leggy. He just wasn't moving as free as you've seen him kind of at the earlier part of the season. So when he came on, he did look a wee bit more hungry, a wee bit more refreshed. It's maybe done him a wee bit of good as well.
Yeah. Leon McCann as well. Ross, what did you make of that change?
I don't know if I would have made that change. I know Dunfermline have got some big players, but I don't think their wingers are would have been a problem for Leon from that perspective. Not against Sean. Sean's come in and done a job whenever he has had to. I think we've got two very competent left backs there. So it is a bit of a muchness. I was delighted that Callum started though. I said it last week that I would. I think he's the best finisher we've got at the club. Is he 100% match fit? No, he's not just now, but he's getting there. Still, as I think John McGlynn said, it's the longest he's played in a good number of months. But his goal, which we'll talk about, showed why he needs to be in the starting 11. And as Ryan said, Dylan Tate coming back in, him and Spencer and Tate, that should be the midfield two for me as well. But you can only play 11. And it is probably harsh on Calvin and Leon and Alfie, but we've got a strong squad and we'll need to use them all.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the crowd trouble and everything earlier on in the podcast, though we didn't reflect on the fact that obviously it was a minute's applause for, I can't remember the name of the Dunfermline player, it was Edward, I can't remember. Not probably the best game to choose, but I have to say I did smile a little bit. I mean, listen, I think it's a bit out of order when you just applaud the player. You know what I mean? That's all you have to do. I did have a little smile though when they started chanting, "If you hate Dunfermline, clap your hands." But it's not a great look. We talked about it earlier on. Not a great look. It did give me a little wry smile though. I
think there's a wry smile and kind of every fan acknowledging the kind of humour of it. Personally, I think the guys on the pitch and the team are classy enough, and I think we in the stands probably need to be as classy as the team. And kind of try and refrain a bit for that as much as we possibly can. We'll never stop it, but that's but I think that's the main thing about that.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. I think there's a line, and if it had been on the shoes on the other foot, we wouldn't have been happy, obviously, with it. So, going back to your point, John, it is a weird choice for Dunfermline to have picked the game. I know it was their next home game, but I don't think it was ever going to be.
Yeah. At least it wasn't a bit of silence. That's what I was thinking. I thought, oh God, are they going to go for a minute's silence here? Don't do that. Don't do that. But it was a minute's applause, which obviously was it. But it did give me a wry smile. I thought you could see the humour, like you say, Ryan. But no, you would be raging if it was a Falkirk legend as well. So, again, not a great look for the sport, but hey-ho. Let's talk about the game, though. Came out the traps fairly quickly. I thought the first, bit of the game, we showed up. Morrison had a good chance earlier on, a good save from their goalie. Luke Graham had a volley from outside the box, which the goalie got down well to. And then we got the goal. Brilliant finish from Morrison, Ross.
It was, and as you said, it had been coming. We hadn't battered them in the opening 20 minutes, but we controlled the game, which was what I expected us to do. In terms of the goal, really, really quick, good thinking throw in from Sean Mackey. Obviously, Tate gets up well because it is high. He flicks it on. McKeever, he almost does enough. Like, I don't know if he actually connects with the ball, but he does enough to sort of move a defender with him. And then Callum, as soon as that that is his perfect situation. He's about 10 yards out of goal and he just thumps it. And
another left foot finish as well on his weaker foot, Ryan.
I think it's just instinctive. He's not got enough time to actually think about it. He's just, the ball's came to him and it's just it's reflex and he's caught it sweetly. The thing I was going to say though about Tate is I think he's been certainly on looking back at the TV broadcast, he was maligned in terms of his just consistency, his passing. I think they were saying he's a bit scrappy in terms of possession and passing, but he's got 2 assists in the game effectively. And he's quick thinking. I know we'll come on to the second one, but both of those have been quick thinking in terms of where he's played the ball back into. So I think overall it's actually a good move. When you look at the movement, you look at the positioning of the players to take the throw in, to take the knock on, because he's not looking, he's playing it back into the area that he expects McKeever or Morrison to be.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's a great goal, and obviously from where we've seen it at our end, it was a great finish. Whatever way you look at it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to say. I think Dylan Tate, I think I said about Brad Spencer last week, and I'll talk about Brad Spencer in a bit, but Dylan Tate, it was like that kind of, almost like the golfer trying to find his range again, and he didn't quite have that. I think he grew into the game. I think, but I like you say, Ryan, I think initially there was a lot of kind of slap passes from him, and you just think that was maybe just because he's not been starting,
Well, I think the other thing as well is the dynamic in terms of the runs that Morrison makes is also an issue, because the passes that Dylan Tate was trying to play, you need the kind of wingers making the run before he plays that pass, literally a split second. Otherwise, it looks like a terrible pass.
Yeah,
it comes off if Morrison or Ethan Ross run half a second earlier. It looks like a world-beating pass.
There was some of those balls where he tried to play it inside, and there was a lot of that that didn't come off for him. But it was. I think it was. He'll find his feet. I think he'll find his feet, because I think
he's got the class there. So I think that's
yeah. But this, and we'll go by the story of the match. Minutes later, Dunfermline get back into the match. Penalty given away. I think when you look back at the telly, Chris Kane's been smart, but I don't think there's any complaints for the penalty unless you've got any, Ross.
No, well, I did at the time. I thought it was a bit soft, but having watched it back a number of times, I'd be shouting for it as well. So I completely understand the angle of the ref as well and why he's giving it. If we're being really critical, obviously Aidan's first touch isn't great, and it moves it away from him, and it gives Kane a question to ask of any defender: what are you going to do to me? And we jumped in. I moaned about it at the time, and it's not against Aidan, it's just a football thing in general. If you're going to tackle on the ball, you need to get the bloody ball, because the players are so smart at what they're doing. And as you said, Kane probably made a little bit of it, but I'd be expecting our guys to do the same in their box as well, to try and get a penalty and get yourself back into the game. And he gave it, and he put it away fairly well.
Yeah, there was talk, Ryan, about, I saw the players complaining as well about being retaken because he started his run. You're allowed to do that, I believe, now.
I think if you as long as you don't feign to make a kind of false shot, if the run is part of the same movement, you stop and then you can continue again the same process without kind of faking a shot. I think that's fine. Whether you agree with that rule or not, I mean, I think that probably puts the keeper off. I think it makes he looks to the referee to almost imply the whistle's been blown again or something like that. And I think
that's what I noticed as well. He does.
So I think that I don't know if that's a deliberate act to try and put the keeper off, or if it was genuinely something he was saying, like, you've blown the whistle again. But at the end of the day, it's in the back of the net. Stupid foul to give away, like you say, Ross, caused by Nizzy's first touch just being a bit heavy. And I kind of felt most of the early part of the game, actually, Nizzy I think he was just too wound up. I think, I'm not going to slate him for that. I think it's absolutely brilliant to see players like that. But I think just a wee bit of the passing and a wee bit of the, the kind of aggression was just maybe just part of the occasion, rather than just kind of calming it down and taking his usual game.
Yeah, and it was after that goal that Falkirk really fell away, and Dunfermline got on top of us right up to the second half. I mean, there was some stupid things like this. Let's talk about the yellow card that Liam Henderson got. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. He's driving out of defence and he puts his arm across Chris Kane. And again, Chris Kane we've seen it from the penalty. He's a seasoned pro, and But have you seen it back and just gone, what the hell? I heard Michael Stewart in commentary going, that is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and it was the first of a number of issues from Colin Stephen on Friday night. I don't think he had a great game at all. But that is just like, Liam's not looking. He's not purposely in at speed.
You're allowed to shield the ball.
Of course you are. And it was just a shocking decision, which obviously they nearly scored from as well, from the free kick.
Yeah, and there was a great save. Obviously, it fell back to Chris Kane, and a brilliant save from Nicky. I mean, Chris Kane, you'd think we'd be wanting to do better that, but like honestly, great save from Nicky again. And really, the only proper save Nicky really had to make, apart from, he didn't really get tested that much, I would say.
No,
Yeah, sorry, you go, Ross.
No, I was just going to say, I thought Nicky, I know he lost 3 goals, but I don't, I'm actually, there's none of them that I would apportion to him.
No.
Like at the third goal, which I know will come on to, there was a lot of folks saying, he could have done better. No, he couldn't. When you watch it back as well, he's completely exposed.
No chance.
Completely exposed. But no, I thought Nicky's distribution was brilliant on Friday night as well. It was more so the second half. The amount of brilliant balls he was getting into either Ethan Ross or Calvin eventually, just phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought Nicky was not at fault for nothing, and like you say, pulled off a great save. But it was worrying that period when we got in. I was delighted when the whistle got blown, because they needed to get in there and have a rethink. How do you think they came out the second half, Ryan?
I think John's obviously had a chat with them, maybe calmed them down a wee bit, and we started, I think, on the front foot. Passing was a bit better, the movement was a bit better. But it was one of those games all the way through where, we never really got a total grip of the game. We had passages of play where occasionally we sprayed about a couple of passes and we got a occasional movement, but it was never really the full flowing Falkirk that we've seen early parts of the season. And I think that's probably just symptomatic of the fact it's a derby game. They're fighting for everything. Credit to our guys. I don't think any of them didn't fight for everything, but I think it's maybe one of those games where it was, a proper battle, as opposed to actually getting any flowing football in the goal.
Ryan, I think you nailed it earlier on. There was the players didn't play the game; they played the occasion.
You could. Yeah, I would say you could see McGuinn just and slow it down, calm down. Because we didn't settle into a game that we normally do. They played, like you say, they played the occasion. You're absolutely right. Goal came. Ethan Ross, who, it was a strange game for Ethan Ross. He didn't really get into it, I don't think, as much as we'd like to have seen Ethan getting into it. But, his run, gliding as ever, cutting inside, getting the foul, and then a smart bit of play from Dylan Tate, because you can see him. He's asked the ref, "Can I play this?" And the ref said, "Yeah." And he's just went boom through to Nesbitt, and then a great finish from Aidan as well. You would be, however, if a Dunfermline supporter, absolutely raging at that. How many times have you seen it pull back? I was waiting for the whistle. I did not celebrate the goal, because I was just like, I looked at the referee and I looked at the players and I went, "Oh my God, he's given that." Was everyone else in as much shock as I was?
No, I celebrate. Sorry, then.
I think I celebrated, but I was questioning what the hell was going on, because people were celebrating. We didn't actually see the movement from where we were sitting, and then we looked across to the linesman because I thought he was going to put his flag up. But listen, great thinking again by Dylan Tate, and fair play to Nizzy, trying to redeem himself there from the penalty early on, and you just kind of hope after that we build on that and kind of take the momentum into the latter half of the second half and get another goal, but unfortunately it wasn't to be.
I saw questions of offside. It didn't look. I saw a freeze frame of it. It didn't look offside. I just think you would complain if you're a Dunfermline supporter that what is happening. You never see that given.
See, the only thing I'd say is, there was no advantage from a forward position, so we didn't move the ball towards goal. He's obviously allowed the free kick to be taken about a yard to the left of where the foul's been taken, which is probably the bigger question. Like, most refs, as you said, were like, no, let's bring this ball back here. But I'm saying he had a crap game. That was a brilliant decision. I did think he got a few other things wrong, which we'll come on to. But I think from that perspective, fair play to him for allowing that to be played there. And as you say, Dylan Tate's been smart enough and asked the question very, very quickly. And he's got the nod, and he's played on, and he's scored. And as Ryan said, the finish from Nisbet was phenomenal. The scenes, again, with the players and the fans together is just phenomenal.
Yeah. Then, shock horror, story of the match. A few minutes later, Dunfermline get another penalty. Sean Mackey this time judged to have handled on the edge of the box. Now, obviously we were at the other end of the ground, so it was hard to see. But having watched it back on the telly again, I don't think you can have any complaints over the penalty. Or do you guys disagree?
I would probably disagree with John. It's one of those ones that's a bit like the handball that was given in the semi-final at Hampden against Leon, which is probably a bit more clear cut, to be honest with you. And they had VAR to look at that. But Sean's probably about 3 seconds in the air before the guy plays the ball. So how he knows that the guy's going to play the ball, is it on the line? I don't know how the linesman can see it in that time. For me, there's a doubt there in the referee's mind. So he's only really gone on the basis the linesman's saying it's a penalty. So Mar's it's one of those ones where, as an opposite fan, you'll be shouting for it. As the home team or the Falkirk team, you would be saying no, it's not. So it's always got to divide opinion. But for me, it's I get the benefit of the doubt with that one.
I thought it was harsh as well. I thought it was harsh. I thought, obviously not at the time, because I'm not in line with it, so you don't know, or near it, so you don't know. But having watched it back, I think the linesman, and it's the linesman that's given it. The ref has not given that penalty. The lino, how he can tell that's in or outside the box, there's no chance. He's been influenced by the 300 or 400 Dunfermline fans behind him.
I've seen a freeze frame of it. My brother sent me from the kind of camera and stuff like that, and he is on the line. He's handling it on the line, but it's just where you say, Ryan. It's like when you're sliding in. It's when you're sliding in like that and just your hands up like that. It's
who slides. Who does a slide tackle with their hands behind their back?
Exactly.
It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I know, but it was very similar to the one we've got obviously against Leon and against Inverness as well. But again, Chris Kane was off the park, so it was Matty Todd that took it. Got to the bottom corner. Nicky unlucky. Got down the right way. He almost got to it. I thought he'd maybe just got to it, but I mean, it was right in the bottom corner. So I actually think he's a decent player, that boy Todd, by the way. I wouldn't mind him at Falkirk, I have to say. But yeah, Nicky got the right way. But yep, there we go. Pegged back again at 2-2. Again, you can imagine how frustrated John McGuinn would have been at this point after it happening before and then happening again. We made changes though. Again, I don't think the changes were surprising. Alfie coming on, Morrison looked like he'd ran his race. I saw a few Dunfermline supporters. I can't believe you took off Morrison, but
he was shattered. He was shattered. Yeah.
And we know Alfie's 5-5 before this game, and we know what Alfie can bring. So the right kind of decision to make to bring him on. Before the subs, we'll talk about this, the penalty shout that we had. Ethan Ross.
Penalty all day long, John. Penalty all day long.
Ryan?
I think so. I think it's, I can't remember the Dunfermline player, but I think it's clever by him. I think the initial part of the foul, he probably is falling, but he knows that Ethan Ross is going to go past him. So he's just continued his momentum into him. And for me, that's intentional. I don't think it's in any way that there's a doubt that he's impeded the Falkirk player coming in there. So for Ethan to not get a penalty for that, I think it's just another notch on the referee's shite card of bad decisions through the game.
Let's talk about another one then. If you think that was a penalty, Ross McKeever, ball goes through. On 1-on-1, was he one? Was it last man? That's the question. There was Dunfermline players coming back in, but Ross obviously driving towards goal. Benedictus obviously fouls him intentionally. Red card.
For me, it is. He's denied a goal scoring opportunity. Last man or not, he's denied a goal scoring opportunity, which is part of the whole makeup of, is it a red card or is it not? Roscoe is then at the edge of the box with a Dunfermline player about 20 feet away. So for me, it's a goal scoring opportunity. I cannot believe it was a yellow card. And again, as Ryan said, it's another black mark on his game. For the positive was really the free kick situation earlier, but that how that wasn't a red card, I'll never know.
Ryan?
Absolutely not. And I think, Benedictus has went in with intent to not just stop him, but actually, when you see the foul back,
you see the foul back. It's a bad tackle, a really bad tackle.
It's not even as if he's just clipped him to bring him down. He's actually went through him. So for me, there's intent there, as well as the fact that he did stop a goal scoring opportunity. And I think what actually tells the bigger story is when you see it back in the telly, Benedictus' face when he actually sees the ref giving the yellow as opposed to the red. He knows he's lucky.
He's relieved.
He knows he's got away with one there. So again, absolutely all day long red for me.
And obviously, Kel Benedictus went on to score the equaliser, which makes it even more frustrating. Yeah. But yeah, I think Calvin Miller, we talked about the subs coming on. Calvin Miller made a big difference when he came on. He looked really fresh and playing in his natural position of left wing as well, which was good to see. I think we've talked about the numbers of Calvin Miller when he's been playing on the right, because obviously Ethan Ross has been at that point where he's not been on drop ball, and you can't complain about the numbers, his assists, his goals, when he's been playing down the right. But it was nice to see Calvin Miller on that left hand side, and I think that he made a big difference when he came on actually.
Yeah, no, I think he did. He's a danger. He's always a danger. But I agree with what Ryan said earlier on. I think he actually maybe needed to not start a game. And if this is what's needed to sort of give him a bit of a refresh, a bit of a reboost, then I'm all for it. Not that Ethan had a bad game. As we said, Ethan causes bother every single time he gets on the ball running at players. It's just a brilliant options that we've got. That we've got 4 fantastic, exciting wingers that can do all this damage. It really is.
Yeah. It was his goal. His free kick obviously led to the corner, which led to our goal, and it was Big Hendo bundling it in across the line. Loved it. Loved to see it. And obviously congratulations to Liam and his good lady who obviously are pregnant, having a baby. That's what pregnancy usually results in. But yeah, he obviously done the old classic, put the ball up the top. But it did look like it was more of up in the chest area. It looked like a pair of one breast as opposed to a stomach. Did anyone else notice that?
Sorry, John, that's just you, mate. I think it's
I don't know if I noticed that actually. Yeah, but I think as you said, it was in the right place at the right time. Big Luke obviously got the initial header towards goal. Their keeper, he's a better keeper than Mehmet, who they've obviously got on the bench now. But he's madcap. Like some of the decision making of their goalkeeper is phenomenal. Like obviously, I know Dylan Tate. We've not talked about it, but Dylan Tate had that long range effort that had it been on target would have probably been a brilliant goal. But I think the keeper had a fumble in him, like obviously the free kick that we talked about that led to the corner. Just catch it. Why is he going to try and punch it or punch it up in the air or whatever he did?
His kicks are phenomenal. He sees the way how far he can melt that ball, by the way. No one absolutely booting it up. But I know it was brilliant, obviously, Hend as well, the Kaiser. And again, we've not really mentioned the defence. I don't think Luke and Hendel put a foot wrong, really. There's nothing they could have done for any of the goals. We'll talk about the zonal mark and for Dunfermline Stud and stuff in a bit, but I don't think they could do anything. I would like to say though, Brad Spencer, I thought was posted missing on Friday. I thought it was one of the quietest games I've seen Brad in a Falkirk jersey. I don't think he got on the ball, and I don't think we got him on the ball as much as we should have got him on the ball.
I think you're probably right, John, but I think also his work off the ball, just in terms of positioning and trying to close down angles, I think that was maybe part of the unsung stuff that he had done. Obviously, we're talking about Dylan Tate being involved in the first 2 goals, but a lot of the stuff that Brad covers and just in terms of his running, I think is equally as important as what he does with the ball.
Yeah,
he did have one kind of memorable pass early on when he played Cal Morrison in for the first shot, which was just weighted beautifully. And another thing, I don't know if you guys picked up earlier or not, but I thought the pitch was crap on Friday night. When you see it back, there's divots and there's tufts everywhere. Again, it's this argument about synthetic pitches or grass pitches this time of year, but I thought the pitch just wasn't conducive to the type of football that we try and play.
Yeah. Maybe Dunfermline tried to waterlog it again, as they've done on previous years.
They've definitely done something to it because it was dug up.
Shiting themselves.
No, but yeah, it was. I thought Brad was really quiet, but yeah, I think it's really important for the system we play that Brad gets in the ball as much as he can as well.
John, I think Ryan makes a point though. He did a lot of the dirty stuff, but we also need to remember that Brad Spencer is targeted by a lot of teams too. So there will be games where he doesn't have the space. Like maybe it's probably more so away from home than at home. Like we saw against Accies last week. He had free reign of his territory. Dunfermline obviously looked at and thought, well, listen, he's the guy who the defence play the pass to then feed everyone else. You close Brad Spencer down, it creates a shortage of opportunity. And they probably did that quite well. The one player, and we're talking about the defence, the one player who I thought didn't have a great game, and there's an argument whether he didn't have a great game last week too, was Colin Adams. I thought he was off it, unfortunately, both defensively and offensively.
Yeah, I think Keelan the last few weeks actually has been off it. He's done some good stuff as well, but it's always been the second. He's done something great and then it's been a cross or it's been a missed kick or something like that. I think he's done okay defensively. It's been more great going forward, I think.
He's been brilliant. Listen, I'm not going to sit and slag on because he's been fantastic all season. However, the last couple of games, his standard of where he was probably has dipped.
Yeah. Another person that I don't think had a great game. In fact, the two full-backs, I thought that Sean Mackey was off it. I don't think he had a great game either. In terms of getting forward, was at half time. I was thinking, put on Leon because he's going to give us more going forward, and we know he can do it defensively as well. I thought I had a really good game against Hamilton as well. I mean, I know why John McGuinn's made that change just for the physical aspect of the game, and we know that's a change he will make from time to time. But I thought Leon can mix it up. We've all seen Leon absolutely, taking on the biggest boys in the world. But yeah, I don't think either fullback had a great game on Friday night. But there you are. And let's talk about the goal. Obviously, the same problem as before. We couldn't hold the lead at all. And Kyle Benedictus went up for his first corner. I mean, Alfie had to put out for a corner. The boy Mabudi, who came on for them, caused a bit of trouble when he came up. Surprised he didn't start for them. Actually, was quite happy he didn't start for them. But Alfie puts out for the corner. And my thoughts on zonal marking, Ross. I think that was a case in point. Benedictus comes up for his first corner. He's left against Finn Yeats, one of the smaller players in the park, when Keelan Adams is standing right beside Finn Yeats, not marking anyone. And you're thinking, it just takes a shout in there, switch, Finn, let us switch here. Because I think if that switch had happened, it's a different outcome. Because Benedictus pretty much one-on-one with Finn Yeats at the back post, and he just has to get above him and put it in the back of the net.
Criminal, we didn't have anyone on the post anyway. But that's part of the whole situation we've got in it. We've lost obviously now a few goals from corners in the last month, and it needs to be better. John McGlynn called it out in his post-match interview as well. The defence have cost us goals by not picking up a man. So, and I think he actually says that he's not putting it on Finn.
No, I don't think he put it on Finn. No,
it was someone before him. I don't know who he's referencing. I would need to watch it back a few times, but he mentions it should have been headed away before it even got to Finn's area. So, yeah, it's a sore one, because you think when you score with 2-3 minutes to go. Granted, we knew there was going to be injury time, right? You think when you score that late on, just see the bloody game out.
I know.
Just see it out, man. And it's turned out not a bad point as the weekend progressed with Livy's score, but another 2 points dropped.
Don't go on the pitch. That's the other thing. Don't celebrate a goal
John,
on the pitch.
Listen, that's easy enough to say. You take 20 years back off yourself. You were on that park at the goal as well. Don't start me. You know fine well you're on that park at 3-2 when you're 20
Tempts fate, Ross. It tempts fate. You know what I'm like.
You were on the park. Ryan, you'd be on the park 20 years ago.
Probably less than that, to be fair. But
listen, the pitch invasion is not why we lost the league goal. You think it's done at that late stage. You do. You think it's done.
And the thing is, probably about 20 odd years ago, it happened to us. Dunfermline were 2-0 up Scott McKenzie scores a screamer, and then a dodgy corner goes in, the last minute goal, and Evo Den Beeman rocks up and scores an equaliser. So those types of games, it goes right to the final whistle because the fans push everybody on. Crap goal to lose for a fan's perspective, crap goal to lose for a team perspective. I know what you're saying about zonal marking, John, but for me, when you're a professional player and it's that big a game, you've came back, it's 3-2, you've got minutes to see it out, you just organise each other, you sort it out. Keelan and Finn are both standing in front of Kyle Benedictus. One of the more senior players just need to say to the guys, look guys, get tight to him or get on the right side of him. And then, it's sorted out. Even Nicky having a shout, you can analyse it to death, but at the end of the day, just fair play to them. They put it in, the guy scored, Nicky never really had a chance. But that might be the point at the end of the season where we think, actually, that's the point that we got there that's seen us through to winning the league.
Ryan, as we said on Friday night after the game, if it means we need to now win the league in March rather than February, so be it.
For fuck's sake, Ross.
So be it.
Jesus Christ. I'm waiting to stop you, honestly. Right, listen, you alluded to what John had to say after the match. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
John, it was a bit of a crazy game out there tonight. Had a little bit of everything, but frustrated not to come away with all 3 points.
Yeah, we're absolutely gutted not to come away with all 3 points. We won the game 3 times and no managed to hold on at the end there. I thought that we played exceptionally well early in the game, up until the opening goal, where we deserved to be in front. Callum's hit a great strike, and we were very much a team on the front foot, looking to go and take the game to Dunfermline and to try to build a lead, which we got. But unfortunately, more or less directly from that, we lose a goal, and it's a naivety in our play. We shouldn't be rushing from the. Like Nicky's got the ball in his hands. We don't need to rush. We don't need to go and play the ball so quickly. We throw it. Sean kind of gets caught in the ball. I mean, I've not seen it back. I'm just going on memory of the time. And whatever, the ball breaks, and then all of a sudden Aidan's involved in a challenge, and it goes down at the penalty kick. And from being, as I say, probably the first time they're in our box, and we lose a penalty. And kind of lost it a little bit after that. Play became scrappy from us. I think they finished the half a bit better. We didn't show the composure that we really need to show. We were playing far too many one-touch passes that didn't really connect, and our play became scrappy, which not like us. Maybe we dust ourselves down at half time, came back out. Points were there to be won. We get ourselves, great, play with Dylan, the free kick, to do it so quickly, it's to be so bright, and playing as the end, and it's a great finish. So compliments to the players, fantastic to execute that. Really, really good, and delighted at that. And again, we're on top. Maybe one of the first times they're up the park in the second half, and they managed to get a penalty, which unfortunately, the way that Sean's went and his hand up, then he stuck the ball going into the box, and although he's not meant it, and it is a penalty kick. And of course, he scored a penalty kick, and it's the game's back in the melting pot again. And we've done so well. We've fought and scrapped and played and pushed, and then we get that goal. We get the goal, and 7 minutes added time to go on, and we've got one corner kick to defend, and we don't defend it. It's frustrating, annoying. Because I believe we've dropped 2 points here tonight. I think we had the points in the bag, and unfortunately, we've only come away with one, and so that's disappointing.
So there we go, John McGuinn. You can tell he's raging. You can tell he's not a happy boy. But yeah,
he's not, but we get it, and it's raw at that time. Like, we were the same when we were chatting about it on the way back there in the pub.
It felt like a defeat. I mean, it really did. It's one of those ones that you can see why Dunfermline are celebrating it like a win, and for us, it did feel like a defeat because you were constantly ahead. And like John said, it was just a case of trying to slow things down. He was saying with obviously the first goal they got back in, Nicky rolling it out, Sean Mackey, then Pat. It's just like, take your time. Take your time, don't rush it, and I think that was the problem. We just kept rushing it and not settling in. But like Ryan said, I'm playing the occasion. and not the actual game itself. But aye, listen, you look back though, on the Friday night, you're sitting there raging. John would have been absolutely raging as well, because it was the chance to go potentially 8 points clear. But the results went for us on Saturday with Ayr drawing at Morton, and then obviously Livingston getting beat by Wraith Rovers. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen David Martindale's, the first thing he talks about is Falkirk. I'm like, God almighty.
Rent free.
I know, but 6 points, like you say, 6 points clear going into the new year. Top of eight. Oh, Jesus, it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So you've got to sit here at this point and going, you look back at moments in the season, and hopefully we aren't looking back at moments in the season and going, well, we should have got a point. We should have got 3 points against Livingston with that goal. We should have maybe have got something down at Ayr with Luke Graham being sent off. We should have held on to the lead at Dunfermline. You just hope that doesn't happen. But again, 6 point clear, top of the league, going into 2025. Great place to be.
Brilliant place to be.
Well, let's hear what you guys were saying to it. Let's kick off with Stuart. He said, started well, scored a cracker, then gave away a very soft pen, and that gave them confidence and knocked us off our stride. Great quick thinking for a second, and then luck again as against us with the handball. Criminal, though, to allow a free header at a corner.
It's a common theme just now. Craig R says 2 points dropped, and we may drop more before the season ends. No real standouts, a few not up to much either. Mackie especially poor. But Nesbitt was awful up to his goal, which was great play by Tate. McCann and Oliver back in for Mackie and Nesbitt next week. I don't know if I would drop Nesbitt. I don't think Nesbitt one you would ever drop. But Oliver, we've never lost a game when Gary Oliver started. That's always the one that I actually think Gary Oliver needs to play on Friday night, but for me, it would be Ross McKeever dropping back to the bench.
Dropping, yeah, potentially. And obviously, Big Barney's due on Friday as well.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to see him on the bench. Chris says, failure to manage a game while leading and losing yet another set-piece goal were the most disappointing parts of last night's performance. Ref played a big part. Ethan Ross was fouled for a penalty that wasn't given. Benedictus shouldn't have been on the park. Still top though, come on you Bairns.
Indeed. Grant says, ironic that Benedictus scores when he should have seen red. Falkirk Dafty has to be Mackie for wearing that headband when his hair is slightly longer than Duncan Goodhue.
Paul says, having watched it back, can't complain at the penalty decisions. Same as last week, with too many players not getting the simple things right. Passes misplaced all over. If McKeever beats his man, he has an opportunity to score. So why it's not a red considering he gave away the pens is baffling.
Indeed. Darryl says, shipped 3 poor goals, which was very unlike us to take a lead and not control the game. Our defending was woeful. Fair few players of ours had an off night too. Tate and Ross tried hard, but nothing come off for them. As for that lot, that is the highlight of their season.
Martin says, got sucked into the occasion a wee bit too much, and Pfeiffer's got 2 strokes of luck with the pens. Seen them waved away to keep them in the match. Didn't do enough to work their keeper. 2 points dropped.
Craig H says, leaving Yeats to mark their only goal threat is absolutely criminal. The defence get praise every week, but they were miles off it tonight. Some of our passing was atrocious again. Even saying that, the ref has done a bit for them. Yeah, and Rounds off saying, the celebration at drawing with us was mesmerising. Shows our inferiority has instilled itself. It's since 1876. There you go. There we go. So, that is the game. Who would you think is the Falkirk Daft rated player for the match? Hard one to pick, because there wasn't any major standouts really, was there? I've got one.
Go.
Because I don't think he did much wrong all game, and it was his last game for us. I'm going to say Luke Graham.
Luke Graham. Ryan?
I'd struggle to disagree with that one. Maybe Callum Morrison just for the goal because of the quality of it and coming back in, but I'll go with Luke Graham as well, actually.
Oh well, that's me overruled then, because I was going to say Liam Henderson just because he got a goal and he was also excellent at the back. But yeah, like Luke Graham gets it as his last game, so there you go. That's 3 Falkirk Daft rated votes for Luke Graham, so you'll be a big miss because he is currently joint top with Alpha Argument, who's also got 3 as well. Joey hasn't got one, Callum Morrison yet actually. So he's still.
It'll come.
I think that'll help. Second half of the season for Calvin.
Yeah. Right, okay then. Who are we going for the Dafty then?
It's the ref for me. Too many mistakes. He did well with one thing, but
Colin Stephen.
Colin Stephen
is getting the Dafty of the week. There we go. I won't disagree. Ryan, have you got anyone else you'd like to throw forward?
I did like the shout about Sean Mackey wearing the headband. I thought that was quite good.
And he didn't play very well either, to be fair. So
wait for that maybe, but no, I think it'd be hard to see past that ref.
Okay, that's fine. Right, okay, so Colin Stephen gets the Dafty of the week. Now it's time for, before we go, it's time for Falkirk Daft versus, and it's a grudge match. I'd prefer it if it was Labrador High against Falkirk High here, Ryan, because I know you.
Well, I think we've been championing that for the last 18 years, but so hopefully.
Yes, yeah.
2025, almost 20 years after it.
I think the game has got to happen. Falkirk, Labrador High versus Falkirk High. We'll get it happening again.
Some kind of redemption next year.
Yeah, hopefully, because you guys are, sort of got beat the last time, so usually
controversially, John. I mean,
there's no controversial about it, Ross. What are you talking about?
Let's rewatch the DVD.
Never a penalty.
Brilliant. Right, let's do Falkirk Daft versus. So I am in control of the questions. 5 questions about Falkirk. It's a penalty shootout style competition. It'll be a tie-break question if you boys go to a draw.
Can I just say I'm actually quite nervous about this because
you'll never hear the end of it.
I'll never hear the end of this, right? I'll never hear the end of this, so I have to. This is pressure.
Right, pressure's on, Ross.
I've got nothing to lose, so I'm just going to line. It's fine.
Right, okay then. Let's go for question number 1 then, shall we? Who was the last player to score a hat-trick for Falkirk? Ross needs to write his answer down. Once he's written down his answer, Ryan, I will get you to give me what do you think?
Right, I've got something written down. I don't know if it's right. It's a punt, just because of
Right, Ryan, who you got?
The one I can remember recently is Anthony Stokes, but I know there's probably one before that, or more recently.
So it's not who I've written down.
You go for Stokes then? You going for Stokes? Ross, who are you going for?
I remembered Anton Dowd's with a hat trick, but I think Callum Morrison scored one since then.
Callum Morrison's the correct answer.
Dynamite.
Obviously, he scored 4 in that match against Edinburgh City.
Of course he did. It was a punt though. I couldn't remember what game, and I knew Anton.
And before that was McGuffey as well against Peterhead. Yeah. Remember, he came off the bench and scored one from the halfway line, and then
is that the same game he scored a hat trick though?
He came off the bench and scored a hat trick. Yeah.
Bloody hell!
He scored for the halfway line. He scored an absolute cracker of a volley, and then scored a penalty.
Right. Fair enough.
So there you go. So, but Cal Morrison is the correct answer. 1-0 Ross. Question number 2. Who did we sell Connor McGrandles to? Ross, write down your answer. Ryan, I'll get your answer in a minute.
It feels too obvious what I've written down, but I don't know. Okay.
Right, okay. Ryan, you got an answer for me?
I have Norwich.
Norwich, Ross?
I think he's right. I've went Swansea.
1-1. Ryan was right.
Okay.
There we go.
Well played.
Right. Next question, question number 3. How many members of the current squad played for Dunfermline? Ross, write down your answer.
Give me a minute. I'm trying to work through the team. You need to name them, or is it just the number?
No, just the number.
All right. Right.
I've written it down, but I don't know.
Okay. What have you written down, Ross? Sorry, I'll get Ryan's answer first. Ryan, what's your answer?
I think it's 3.
Well, who do you think the 3 are?
Donaldson, Lang, and Ethan Ross.
Donaldson, Lang, and Ethan Ross. Ross, what have you went for?
I've went for 2 because I could only think of Tom Lang and Cole Donaldson.
Tom Lang. Now, I don't have Tom Lang down. The answer I've got is 2.
Right, okay.
Who's your 2 though? Because Tom Lang definitely played for them.
Cole Donaldson and Callum Morrison. Callum Morrison played for Dunfermline, and so did Cole Donaldson. But did Tom Lang? Because if it is Tom Lang, Ryan's got the right answer.
I'm sure Tom Lang played for Dunfermline.
Tom Lang, footballer, Falkirk. Here we go. We'll check. We're on this. I don't.
It's VAR, is it?
Falkirk Daft.
Tom is too handsome, surely, to have played for Dunfermline. Why is Tom Lang not coming up in my search here? I cannot believe this. Thomas Lang. Lang. How do you spell Lang? Jesus.
L-A-N-G.
I've got it. Sorry, I've got him right. Did Tom Lang play for Dunfermline? Now, controversially, no, he did play for Dunfermline. I've got to give it to you. He didn't play a game for Dunfermline. He never played and kicked a ball for Dunfermline. But he did. We have to say he was on their books. So we've got to give the 3. You'd agree with that, Ross?
No, listen. I definitely had Tom Lang in my head. So fair play.
Right. There we go.
So who was the 3? So it was Tom Lang,
Callum Morrison.
I have no memory of Callum Morrison.
He played there on loan.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, you're both wrong.
Is it 4?
It's 4. Ethan Ross did play. I've completely messed that question up. So both wrong. Still
a draw then. It's
still a draw. Still 1-1.
I'm sure that question came up at the last Falkirk Daft Live because Paul actually spoke about it at the time. Right, so that was why it was in my memory. I knew about Ethan. So
4 then. 4 it is. So there you go. Completely fucked that question up. But there you go. Still a draw. 1-1. This is why you don't write the questions when you've had a couple of whiskies. Right. Okay. In what year did Russell Latapy sign for Falkirk? That is question number 4.
Is it the season or the year?
The year.
Right.
The year.
Yeah, I definitely know this, just so there's a bit of pressure on Ryan here. Just so you know. I definitely know.
Right, okay.
Right, Ryan, what are you going for?
2008.
Ross.
2003.
Was it that early?
It was.
Wow.
And Ross has got it. Yep, absolutely. He's got it right. 2-1, Ross. Right. You need to hope he slips up in this question, Ryan, and that you get it right, and then we'll go to a tie break. It's a bit of a who am I for the final question.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Here we go. Who am I? Played for Falkirk. I was born in Jarrow and made over 100 appearances for the Bairns, scoring my first goal against Rangers. Including Falkirk, I also played for 2 other Scottish clubs. But who am I? I'll do that again. I was born in Jarrow and made over 100 appearances for the Bairns, scoring my first goal against Rangers. As well as Falkirk, I played for 2 other Scottish clubs. Who am I?
Can we ask who the 2 other Scottish clubs are?
Do you want? If Ryan agrees with it, I can give you the other 2 Scottish clubs.
Aye, because I think I need it more than anything else.
Okay. Dundee and St Johnstone. People will be shouting at the podcast right now.
I don't remember him playing for those 2 teams. I've got someone in my head, but did he?
I'll give you a clue as well. He's a striker.
See, that doesn't narrow it down because the player I've got in my head's a striker anyway. Right, I don't know. I'm just this, I guess.
Right. What are you thinking, Ryan? You got an answer?
I've got mine written down.
I'm clutching at straws here. I don't know what era you're in there, John, but I'm going Carl Finnegan.
Carl Finnegan, Ross.
No.
What have you written down?
I went Pedro Botelho because is it not an overseas? Did you say he was born where?
Jarrow.
Where the hell's Jarrow?
Well, Ryan obviously knows because he got it right. Well done, Ryan.
Wait, no, is it not Newcastle? It's Jarrow.
Jarrow's outside Newcastle, aye. The Jarrow Arrow. You never heard of Steve Cram, the Jarrow Arrow?
No, I've not at all. No.
There you go. Well done, Ryan. Pulled that back. That means we go to a tie break here, right? So, Ross, you're going
to have to... making buttons now, by the way.
Right. This could be 2 defeats in a row for Falkirk Daft, by the way, because it's currently, was it 13? I think it's 13.
13-3 is the current score.
13-3. Right, okay. Your final question. How many matches was Jim Jeffries in charge of the club for? How many matches was Jim Jeffries in charge of the club for?
Right. Here's a minute then. So is this our closest to, obviously?
Closest to.
Right. This is just competitive games, isn't it?
Yes. It's whatever I've got off Wikipedia, mate. So that's pretty much. The answer is according to Wikipedia. Right. He's trying to do the maths here. He's using his fingers. Ross, for people listen to the podcast, Ross is currently using his fingers to try and work this out.
I'm just trying to average it, to be honest.
Right.
Oh, wait now.
This is a man who works in the banking sector, everyone. Using his fingers. Right, okay. Ross,
right. Let me
write something down and then we get an answer from Ryan. If we answer Ryan's answer first, Ryan, what are you going for?
Again, it's just picking a number right there. 142.
142. Ross, what are you going for?
I went for 205.
One is 32 out. 32 out. But who is that person? And I'm sorry to say, it's a loss for Ryan Marshall, a win for Falkirk Daft. 237 was the answer for that. Educated guess by Ross there with his fingers. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry, mate.
Goes was that then? So 200 how many?
237.
237.
So there you go. 14-3 to Falkirk Daft. Unlucky, Ryan.
That's
you
fine.
Up to the limits, mate.
Fine. Carl Finnegan will live rent-free in Ross's head for a while.
Do you know what really well? That's the one that I'm going to remember as well.
Ross is away to check out where Jarrow is now. But there you go. Brilliant. Well done.
Jarrow was in Portugal.
Your geography and you had a lot to be desired. Your maths is no bad though, Ross. There you
I don't think you would go on holiday there. Put it that way, Will.
No, you wouldn't. Absolutely. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And if anyone is looking for an architect, Ryan is your absolute man. Falkirk Daft, as you can see and hear, for pulling out that Carl Finnegan answer from nowhere. And give us your website again, Ryan.
Yeah, it's rmar.co.uk. So thanks for that, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Ryan. If you want to be a guest pundit, I think we're just about done for the season, but if you want to get involved, drop us a DM or you can slide into our email, just John or pundit at falkirkdaft.co.uk.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue. Are you?
This Friday, we head to the Albert Bartlett Rooster Stadium. I think that's what it's called. It might be the arena. I don't know. I'm not too sure. Shibury Excelsior, Broomfield to some. We're heading to Airdrie for a game on the television. And on as ever to talk about Airdrie and give us a wee inkling into what we can expect on Friday. He's from the OTL podcast. It's Colin Telford. How you doing, Colin?
I'm not bad, John. The Tatty Had, it's also known as. But
Tatty Had. Oh, that's fantastic.
It's good. I like that. Absolutely love that. Colin, since we last spoke, you've not won a match. I can't believe.
It's probably better than the last time I spoke to you, to be honest, John. But yeah.
Yeah. Let's just find out what the hell is going on, Colin. What is going so wrong for Airdrie this season? Is it player recruitment? Is it the manager? Is it tactics? What is it? All of the above?
So I think the last time I spoke to you, I think it's 2 points. One, the replacements that we brought in the summer aren't as good as what we lost, but we did have a terrible injury crisis, and I'm actually a wee bit more positive in terms of we've had I think there were 4 players back in the Accies game who have really been missing. So Rhys McCabe himself, young kind of holding midfielder Dean McMaster, Mason Hancock, who was brilliant for us last year but has been injured most of this season, and Dylan McDonald, who's another fullback. So they were all welcome additions, and for 70 minutes against Accies, as I said, we were a bit better, and then just ran out of steam with these guys who have come back in not really having the fitness. So I mean, this season's been a disaster. I fully expect to go down, but I am feeling that we might actually be able to make a
bit of a fight,
a better fist off it in the second half of the season. Just if we get these guys back and we can keep them fit, and who knows, maybe in January if we could get a couple in. So I was total doom and gloom last time around. I'm kind of accepting of we'll probably go down. Managing to stay up from here would be like a promotion, so may as well just enjoy what's left of the season to the extent that we can.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long way back from 10 points. I mean, Dunfermline the closest to you, and you suspect they'll kick on maybe a wee bit again. I mean, is there any teams there that you think you can maybe even suck into? Even when you look at Morton, like they're 14 points away from you now as well. So is it generally the Airdrie supporters now accepting that it's done, the season's done?
I would say so. I think the fact that the goal, I mean, would a draw have made that much a difference on Saturday? Probably not. But the fact it was such a late goal, and you kind of see it coming, we were trying to hold on for the draw, that does feel pretty big. But I mean, if you could put 2 wins together, it could look very different. So you can't completely give up hope, but it is quite a big gap. And as you say, the teams above us, like say Morton, they do pick up the odd win, which we just haven't been doing. So we'd need to put 2 or 3 wins together, and then that could make another team very nervous. And if they have the kind of injury problems that we had in the first half, then who knows? But yeah, it looks a long shot from here.
Colin, certainly when you listen to John McGlynn, his post-match interview from Friday night, they look ahead to next week. He says it himself, Airdrie are not as bad a team as the points total suggests. And I would agree, having the 2 games against us haven't been like so one-sided. I know there's been moments within the games where it maybe felt like that, but in general, and I'm on sort of record on this podcast saying that I still think, having watched every team now a couple of times, Wraith Rovers are still for me the one team that just they don't look a great football team. And as you've said, you've now got players coming back. I fully expect a different sort of league table. Maybe as you said, it's a big gap, but you can chip away at that. I genuinely think you can.
Yeah, and we've got Dumbarton in the next round of the Scottish Cup. So if we could manage to win that game and get kind of the luck you guys got in terms of getting a big team in the next round of the Scottish Cup, because you got the Celtic away, didn't you? So we got something like that, then suddenly that could be 1 or 2 players, which could make a massive difference to the kind of squad that we carry. So, but we're still short. I mean, we're soft. We give away really soft goals. Saturday it was 3 good play from Accies for a couple of them, but just crosses into the box not dealt with. Rhys McCabe filling in at centre half and looking like somebody filling in at centre half rather than somebody who should be playing there. So we need to cut that out, or we've scored 4 in the last, I think, 4 matches, which is a massive improvement on the last time I came on here. You gave the stat we'd only scored 6 goals, so we're now up to 10. So it's getting better. But if you're conceding soft like that, I think the general play, you could probably say, we're not getting gubbed. We're in games a lot of the time, but if you're giving away goals cheaply and struggling to score them, then that's where you end up. So yeah, we do need to solve that. But I'm not without hope, especially if we could bring in just a good centre half and a good centre forward. Would make a massive difference.
Will that be coming from Jackie McNamara's company as well in January then, Colin?
Possibly. I mean, in fairness, like the Airdrie Facebook page, they've been coming in for a lot of criticism. I still look at the players that are on the Concilium books, and they are better players, it's the ones that we've brought in ourselves over the summer that I think have fallen short. So the dream would be Charlie Telfer back, if Ross County would give him on loan, find a centre-half from somewhere, and even like Big Todorov left us to go to Aki's and has barely kicked a ball, so if they wanted to send him back, bizarrely, I would take him, and we just could maybe make a better fight off it.
Yeah. I mean, last time we were in Airdrie, it was actually one of our best performances this season. I thought we really played really well last time we were at Airdrie. How do you expect it to go on Friday?
That game, because Ross, you said you thought we were all right. I thought you were excellent that day at one-way traffic, and I think it was Kieran Wright was in goals that day. Had a really good game, or else it could have been much bigger than the margin. I think I'm going to be positive this time. I think we could score a couple of goals, but it depends on what we're able to do at the other end. So I'm going to go 2-1 again. But this form's got to change at some point. So it'd be typical football if you'd bottom against top, and that was the time you somehow managed to get a performance.
So 2-1 to Airdrie then.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Absolutely, Ross.
I similar to Colin. I think the top v bottom is never quite as easy as it should be on paper, and I think they will grow in confidence with it. I'm going to go 2-1, but I'm going to obviously go 2-1 Falkirk. Get ourselves back in a winning way.
Yeah, I think we've not been brilliant the last couple of weeks, but I'm hoping we get together. The defensive situation worries me slightly. So I think we will maybe concede a goal if Colin Donaldson's coming back in. I think Liam Henderson and Colin Donaldson will need to find that partnership we talked about earlier. So I think it might be 3-1 to Falkirk. I'll go with that. But yeah, it'll be interesting anyway. Thanks as ever for coming on, Colin. It was a last minute call this time as well.
I know, I'm in Falkirk Navy Blue here rather than getting a Airdrie top on because I'm at work. But yeah, not a problem to come on. And what was the deal with the pitch invasion? Are you guys going to learn these late pitch invasions like Queen of the South away in your banter years, Friday night? You need to stop doing it, guys. The football gods don't like it.
We were talking about that earlier on, funnily enough, Colin. Thanks for coming on, Colin. Really appreciate it. And best of luck for the rest of the season. Obviously, we always preface it by saying not on Friday night, but we sincerely hope you can get above Dunfermline and put them down. That would be great.
I might need an administration at this point, but never rule anything out. And you guys keep enjoying your season. You're obviously flying, so yeah, all the best to you. Obviously not against us.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Colin, for the OTL podcast.
No worries. See you guys.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. Stay local, eat and drink global.
And that is it for this week's Falkirk Daft. Hopefully you listened to in this bizarre period between Christmas and New Year where we're at just now. Hopefully you have a happy New Year as well. But before we go, we've got to wrap up the Demetrius Petrovicius Roll of Honour. Well done yet again on the spellings of that. On the Roll of Honour this week we have Kelly, Joe, Dougie, James, Jamie, Dave, Homer's twin, Del, Archie and Hendo. Will we give you another player for the Roll of Honour?
I think we should.
Let's do it. Okay. Right, the player I'm going to give you, right? Pedro Miguel Cardozo Monteiro. Remember him? Pelé, exactly. The only Pelé to play for Falkirk, 2009-2010. We got him from West Brom, and it was the only chance you ever had, and I did it, to have Pelé on the back of your Falkirk shirt top, and I've still got that top there. Pelé written on the back of it. It's class. There you go. I'll let you off with the Pelé, but Pedro Miguel Cardozo Monteiro. There you go.
Love it.
That's Kelly for the Roll of Honour for next week. Thank you very much for listening to Falkirk Daft as ever, or watching us. It's on to the next one, on to Airdrie. Remember, if you can get us on YouTube, you can get us there, get us where you get podcasts. Tell people that there might be people that haven't even heard the podcast, like Brian probably, who we talked about at the start of the podcast. He's probably heard it. But if you know a Falkirk supporter and you're like, I need Falkirk media in my life, well, we are here to do that for you, talk about the games, talk shite as per usual, but really appreciate you watching or listening to us across the year. It's been what a year for Falkirk. You know, you look back at, as a Bairn, you know, it is that time of year you look back at the moments of the year, and I think for me as a Falkirk supporter, the memories from last season and this season as well, I'll live long. That moment on the park at Montrose, it's you know, the Brad Spencer penalty going in, and just magical moments, absolute magical moments, the greatest moments.
2024 has definitely been up there as one of the best, if not the best, potentially, as a Falkirk fan, for a number of people. And I'll be sorry to see it finish. However, it does look and feel like we're taking something special into 2025 as well.
Yeah, exactly. So fingers crossed in 2025 you might be seeing Falkirk back in the Premiership. Who knows? Who knows? That's all fingers crossed. But it's a great place to be, like we've said, 6 points clear at this point. No Falkirk supporter, no one, I don't think, in any walk of football would have predicted this happening. A team coming from League One and being where we are now. But hopefully we can keep it going in 2025. And like you say, it'd be great to see Falkirk back up there. Who knows? Who knows? We won't tempt fate in this podcast, though if you are on the Wayne train, you might. Right, okay, thanks very much for listening, thanks for watching, and until next time,
expect unexpected. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft, talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft, we're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk Bairn, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.